Hey everyone, what's up? So, last time I did a reminiscing series on Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare for the remastered version. This time I'm doing it on the original Gears of War for the Ultimate Edition. Now, why am I playing this game now? Well, you guys know that I'm going through my 2016 backlog right now, and a lot of people voted for this game. In fact, this game just beat, like by 1%, just beat Dark Souls 3 in the poll. It more or less got the same amount of votes, but the way that the votes were split, like they couldn't get a number that would equal to 100%, and so they had to favor one game over the other, and Gears of War won that on the poll. Now, what's awesome here is that I decided to play through Gears of War Ultimate Edition before I started Gears of War 4. The reason is because when else would I actually, find the time to do it? I said to myself, well, if I'm going to play Gears of War 4, I might as well play the Ultimate Edition. I've owned it since launch practically. Might as well pick it up and put it in the console. I have to say that the graphics in this blew me away. Like, just like Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare Remastered, they did an incredible job just recreating the depth and the feel of the first time I played this game. Now, I didn't play this game immediately on release, and the reason was because I didn't have an Xbox 360 at the time this game came out. However, I did have a friend who was heavily into this game and into this series and really into the Xbox 360. And I remember going over to his house, and he said, "No, you gotta freaking play this." And he hooked it up, and we were playing it, in 720p on his TV, and it was an incredible experience to see from a graphical level, because that was like more or less the first time I was seeing like these next gen visuals, in real life, I should say. I didn't have an Xbox 360. First, I wanted a PS3, but when I saw this game running back in the day, I was just like, damn, these visuals are incredible, and I was really impressed. I wasn't so heavily into the gameplay as he was, I wasn't really invested into the experience because I liked more story-driven, emotional character stuff, more so than the more, badass action, just constantly one after another set piece and all these enemies and stuff and all this gore. Like, it was cool, but I wasn't like, super into that type of style of game. Um, but playing it for the first time, it was an incredible experience from a visual perspective, and it really just opened my eyes to like the future of gaming and like what was possible. And this was like one of the very few, aside from the early Halos, the very few Xbox IPs I was like, damn, I really want to get a console to play this game. So playing it for the first time, playing it really the remaster, more or less for the second or third time, I think might actually be my third time playing the campaign. I was just like, wow, because it was such an upgrade. Like, they did such an upgrade over the original Gears of War. I mean, they added extended cutscenes in this one. All the character models have been completely redone. They now have really realistic and very impressive facial animations as well. I mean, you look at this game and it looks like a current generation Xbox One title. It looks incredible. The only downside that I can fault from this remaster is that it does still run at 30 frames per second, and there are some dips here and there. I played this game on a variety of consoles. I played it on my original Xbox One Day 1 edition in 1080p, and it looked really good. I went to Jake's house and played it on his 4K TV, but he just has a white Xbox One. And then I actually beat the game. I played the last 2 hours of it on my Xbox One S on the Samsung KS8000, and it looked incredible on that, even though it didn't have HDR and all this cool stuff. It just looked really, really good, like, all the time. It's a very impressive game from a graphical standpoint, and it's really worth a replay considering how much work they put into it. I mean, this isn't just a simple, retexturing and stuff like that. No, this is a full-on remaking of, like, the game's assets and whatnot, like high-resolution textures, excellent volumetric lighting effects. Like I said, there's additional cutscenes and new cutscenes that have been replaced. All the character facial animation looks incredible and really top notch, and just it looks very much current generation, which is fantastic considering this game came out 10 years ago. And you look at the original game, and it still does hold up pretty decently, but there are some really kind of low quality stuff. And they really, really just widen the spectrum here. It looks fantastic. Playing it though, it really brought back those great memories, of me playing like the original one at my friend's house and getting really heavily invested into multiplayer. I was just like, damn, this is a really, really, really cool game to play, especially online. Like I wasn't like super into the online, but I really did have a fun time playing it, especially with friends when you got into a party and whatnot. It was cool. I remember having really fond memories of the second one in particular, Gears of War 2. That was a really, really good game online for me. So it's just really cool, this to kind of relive this game again and to see how it looks and to see the effort and stuff that was put into it. Again, it kind of sucks that they couldn't make the campaign 60 frames per second. But when you look at the visuals and you look at everything that's being displayed here, you have some of the best, visuals. Definitely on the Xbox One, it's one of the better looking games, and this is a remaster technically, and it still outperforms most of the current generation games that are out right now, especially in character model detail and whatnot. And so when you look at visuals like that, you're like, yeah, it sucks it's not 60 frames, but look at how good the graphics are. It's understandable. So I just wanted to, talk about this really quickly. It really is a cool game to play. I really enjoyed playing it again, and that feeling of, just seeing like Gears of War really just. It was a big influence on the gaming industry, regardless of how you felt about it. You could have cared less about this game or whatever. It really had a big influence on the gaming industry. And how many games have we seen come out that have tried to basically clone Gears of War's gameplay and its aesthetics and its intensity? And it fails in a lot of aspects. What makes Gears of War is you have this, incredibly detailed post-apocalyptic world, but this really intense gameplay, this shaky cam gameplay, and this gore, and not to mention the chainsaw on your friggin' guns. I mean, this was never like seen before, like no one's ever seen something on this level. And there's a lot of complexity and a lot of depth that goes into this, very linear game. You have these, it's a linear game, but there's also some exploration aspects. There's a point where you can choose to go left or right in your paths, and there's a little bit of replay value there. There's co-op gameplay and whatnot. It's a really cool experience. And really, we haven't seen up to this point in 2007. We haven't ever seen a game that's ever pushed boundaries like that really far. And it's a shame that we haven't seen like a new IP from Xbox in particular that's had like the I guess the impact that the original Gears of War did, or that the original Halo did. Like I really feel like that's the biggest thing that we're missing with this generation, and that Xbox has been really missing over time. It's like I really want them to purchase, game development studios and make their own IPs, and really just try to get down some really hardcore exclusives in there, rather than just give us more Gears of War and more Halo. Those are good games in their respective rights, right? But these, like, Gears of War spawned in the Xbox 360, Halo spawned in the original Xbox. Where's this new franchise that spawns with the Xbox One? We're still waiting on that game. It's just, I really would like to see them really get down and create a game that has the impact, and that has the level of complexity and the just the fun aspect and the visual aspect of just the impact that Gears of War had, the original Gears of War had, and make it a new IP and make it really awesome. That would just be incredible to see, from Microsoft, because they make good games. They really do. I just feel like they, instead of focusing on paying off other third-party devs to make their games, just purchase your own studios. Like Microsoft doesn't own Remedy games at all. They don't officially own them, but Remedy Games, they're partnered with them like a publisher company. It's like Sony with Quantic Dream. Quantic Dream, they don't own that studio, but they publish their games. The same thing with Microsoft and Remedy. So I would really like to see them like really create a new IP here. I think it'd be great. And playing this again, it just really brought back good memories. Me going to my best friend's house at the time and playing this, and I remember it looked incredible at the time. I think he had like a 32-inch TV. It was kind of a small TV. It was like up high on a dresser or whatever. So it was a bit funny to actually watch, but still, it was just those great memories of playing those games and seeing how well, they looked, and just, really having a good time playing with your friends, getting into a party on the weekends, and then just getting into a game and you guys would just play for hours. I miss those days in my life. That's one thing I do miss a lot, is that multiplayer gaming back when it was good multiplayer gaming. Today things have changed. The whole spectrum, the whole community has changed. When you got into like a game, when you played multiplayer games back in like 2007, the dawn really of PlayStation Network, Xbox Live, that the whole era of like multiplayer gaming was just starting to come forward. When you played games back in those days, it was a very different experience than today. You don't see a lot of people talking on mics today. A lot of people just kind of ignore. Yeah, you'll see persons in they have their headset on, they're just kind of talking shit or whatever. But I don't remember really that being an issue back in the day. I really don't. If I'm thinking back a decade ago, you could really just get a mic on and you could talk with anybody and you can make friends with anyone. Everyone was kind of respectful. And I think we just missed a lot of that, over the course of the years. We don't have respectfulness in our online communities. And yes, it's a very competitive aspect, true. But there's a lot of things that we lose when we're on this path of progression. And it's just one of the things I miss, was just really good multiplayer gaming, not just from a gameplay aspect and having friends to play with, but from a community aspect as well. And that's what this game really reminded me of, was just that community and those fun times, and the competitiveness, but also the respectfulness that everyone had. So I appreciate you guys watching this video. I really do. Thank you all so much. I'm going to work my way through Gears of War 4 next, and going to be playing it in HDR on the Xbox One S and on the Samsung KS8000. It's going to look gorgeous. Can't wait to play that. So I'll give my impressions when I get further in that game, and thank you guys for watching. Have a good one.